As of now, Man United has only played 35 games this season, and we are left with 3 games to go. And on Saturday is when we're going to be hosted by Bournemouth down at Vitality Stadium that capacitates 11,379 people in that stadium. Welcome to this channel. It's known as United Matters channel. We are here to give you a little bit of a breakdown between Bournemouth versus Manchester United, a game that is going to be played on Saturday. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. The team that we are going to play, Bournemouth, is one of those teams that was not given a chance when they came to the Premier League because they never went ahead in the market to buy players that could keep them into the league. But surprisingly, right now, as we are into the final 3 games of the season, Bournemouth is one of those teams that is 100% safe, as they've gone ahead to collect 39 points in all of the games they've gone ahead to play into the Premier League. And their recent game, they are beaten by Crystal Palace away from home by 2-0. And their last game they played away from home, Chelsea went there and beat them by 1-0. But they've been having a very good run away from home. They beat Leeds 4-1. They found themselves being beaten by West Ham 4-0. They beat Fulham at home 2-1. They beat Liverpool 1-0 at home. So they are a team that has been really having some good performance as at home and some good ones away from home, like drawing with Newcastle away from home 1-1 in February and beating Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1-0. So they've been putting up performances that have been really hard, and they've always fought for them not to be relegated, and that has seen them put up fights after fights. And remember, they are brought in by Scott Parker. If at all you could remember Scott Parker, and then he was sacked. Then this caretaker manager has seen them survive the knife of being relegated. When you look at the teams in the relegation zone, they're having 33 points, and I think Bournemouth is going nowhere according to me, because they're even ahead of West Ham. So this is one of those games that you're going to play against Manchester United, and what's going to make this game hard is this team has nothing to play for. They have nothing to lose, they have nothing to win, because their season has come to an end literally, because they've gone and fought to stay into the league. And I think that's the biggest positive that Bournemouth has really gone ahead to find themselves into. And their survival is into the capitulation of teams like West Ham, Leicester City, because I believe if at all those teams like West Ham, Leicester City had really put up a very good run, Bournemouth couldn't have found themselves in a position of really being into the position where they are in there for you. But for Manchester United, having taken 2 games without winning, that was away from home. We lost 1-0 to Brighton and 1-0 to West Ham. We came back to winning ways by beating Wolverhampton Wanderers at Old Trafford by 2-0. And today, Newcastle have gone ahead to win their 36th match. They've gone ahead to play their 36th match of the season, and they've gone ahead to win it, and they've beaten a team known as Brighton by 4-1, meaning that they are left with 1 game. If at all they win it, they are going to have qualified for the Champions League. They last qualified for the Champions League in the season of 2002-2003, and they finished 3rd. By the time they had the likes of Laurent Robert, I think even Patrick Kluivert was part of that team of Newcastle. So, meaning that United also has to go on Saturday and win this game. I've always told you here, before I even came into this interview, that Ten Hag wouldn't like to really see himself pressurizing himself by winning the remaining 2 games that you're going to play at Old Trafford. Remember, this is the last game you're playing away from home this season against Bournemouth, and the remaining 2 games are going to be played at Old Trafford against Chelsea and against Fulham. And Erik Ten Hag wouldn't like to really have a lot of pressure, as he wants to really rest some of his players in the last game you're going to play on the 28th of May at Old Trafford as we host Fulham in preparation for the finale of the FA Cup. Remember, Man City is into the final of the Champions League. The Premier League is already done for Man City on Sunday. They might find themselves crowned if at all they get 3 points from Chelsea, meaning that the treble is in their arm's distance. They can really get the treble anytime from now. So Ten Hag would like to go in all force on the 3rd of June to stop Man City from really lifting the treble, because the moment they beat us, our mercy will be in Inter Milan, and you cannot trust Inter Milan from stopping City from lifting the Champions League. So it's supposed to be us to stop Man City from lifting the FA Cup and really cancel all out their plans of the treble. And that has been boosted by the return of Marcus Rashford, one of those players that this season has been so much dependent on Manchester United. 29 goals this season scored by Marcus Rashford, and I think he can continue to score more against teams like Man City. And it's good that he's back for the game of Bournemouth, Fulham and Chelsea. Ten Hag can use those games to really see him get back to full match fitness and obviously go on and torment City at the Wembley Stadium. The other player that has really gone ahead to return back is Scott McTominay. He's back into full training, and we've seen photos ever since yesterday, him and Rashford being part of the team. And the other one that is back on the grass is Donny van de Beek. He has started to run, and I think he's being taken through those drills, and I think he's too early for the preseason. And I think he might not take part in any of the remaining games unless otherwise. But you never know, never say never onto a player like Donny van de Beek, because he has suffered lots of injuries ever since he came in at Manchester United. The only season he kept fit, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer never used him enough. That is the season of 2020-2021. So let's wait and see how things are really going to pan out into the remaining 3 games. But Lisandro Martinez is out until the end of the season, and I think which other player is really out? I think Lisandro Martinez and Donny van de Beek. Rafael Varane back, Scott McTominay is back, Rashford is back, and is doing the needful to see to it that he really puts in the shift that Manchester United really deserves onto that left attacking side of the midfield. Alejandro Garnacho, a man who returned and obviously found himself onto the score sheet. Ten Hag is just trying to integrate him slowly by slowly, and I think all Ten Hag is really focusing on is the game of Bournemouth that we're going to play on Saturday, because for that, we need to win it. We win that one and win against Chelsea, we are into the Champions League. Then that game of Fulham, I think huge changes will be made by Erik ten Hag, and then we'll be preparing for the game of Man City to see to it that we really get them out of our way. Now, let's go and look at how Ten Hag really is expected to really name his starting 11, as we talk on a team known at Bournemouth that has the likes of Solanke, Billing, Antony, and very many others. The system of Erik ten Hag, it's always unchanged, is a 4-2-3-1 system that he always plays with. Four defenders, a double pivot, 3 attacking midfielders, and a centre forward to lead the line. And let's see who is expected to start and who is expected not to start into that Erik ten Hag starting 11. In goal, David De Gea is expected to be one of those. Starting in goal for the club of Manchester United. That is David De Gea. For me, I expect him to come in through and really play a very huge role. He kept a clean sheet, and I think he might keep another one, by the way, because when you're having Rafael Varane and Lindelof into that central defense with Casemiro playing ahead of you, you expect lots of things to happen into that team. Diego Dalot, I fancy him to start. Aaron Wan-Bissaka started the previous 2 games. Then I expect Dalot to come in through and play as the right back. The left back, it's going to be Luke Shaw to play on the left side of the full back. Then the central defense, we are going to be having Lindelof on the right side of the central defense, and Varane is going to play onto the left side of the central defense. And that's why we need to win this game of football on Saturday. We beat Bournemouth, give Varane the game of Chelsea, and don't let him play the game of Fulham at Old Trafford, such that he prepares for the finale of the FA Cup as we take on Man City. You know what it means when you're having Varane. I've already brought you a story when Bruno Fernandes has been all praises for the player known as Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez. In the central midfield, the double pivot, I think we are going to be blessed to have Casemiro and Eriksen. I understand Casemiro is really struggling to get back to his full match fitness that he had on when he really played on before he was red carded in the game of Southampton, and so he missed out to 4 Premier League games. So he's struggling to get back to his fitness levels, but I think he's going to get back to those levels. most especially in the finale. That's it, because that's one of the most important games that we need to stop the treble of City. Ericsson is another one that has always not gone ahead to put in the shift of being intensive, running relentlessly and obviously giving United the best that we deserve. But he has always found himself in a position of obviously putting in the shift, of really getting that ball from the back four and pass it through the central axis to connect the midfield to the attack a lot. So let's wait and see how that happens. And then Bruno Fernandes Borges is another one that is going to be played into the central attacking midfield of United. He was responsible for the secondary assist for the first goal we scored against Wolves, and then he released Garnacho in the dying minutes, and Garnacho laid that ball into the bottom corner to make it 2-0 for Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes, Captain Fantastic, Mr. Magic, is going to be played into the central attacking midfield. Then Antony, one of those players that is really picking up form and trying to do things that we always called in for him to do, and I was excited, in the game of Wolves for that square he gives to Antony Martial to score that goal. And if at all he continues to do such again and again and again in every game, he's going to find us in a position of obviously winning these beautiful games of football. Then I expect Marcus Rashford to start. I don't think that Ten Hag has that patience of keeping Marcus Rashford off the bench, because every time Rashford has gone ahead to come and return from injury, Ten Hag has gone ahead to start him into the team. But I won't be surprised if at all Sancho starts, and then Rashford and Garnacho come off the bench, and then Martial and Sancho come off the game of the bench. Then who is leading the line? Obviously it's Antony Martial, who scored against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you can't rule him out from scoring against such a team like Bournemouth, because they don't have much to play for, though they've gone ahead to really shock very many teams at their ground. But I believe if at all we go ahead and we utilize our chances, we can beat them out of the way. So expected changes are 2. Dalot for Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Marcus Rashford for Jadon Sancho. But Ten Hag can name the same starting 11 as it played against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then he can rest Rashford and then bring him on later to play some 30 minutes in the remaining part of the game. But we need to really kill off our chances. That's something that we should go ahead and really continue doing. We've been creating very many chances in the first half, and we've not killing them. We've not really killed them off, and that's what Ten Hag has always gone ahead and be told these players, that we are creating very many chances and we're not killing them off. That really makes our game plan hard. If we go ahead and score 2 goals in the first half, second half, let's come in, first 15 minutes of the second half, that is at the hour mark, let's score the 3rd goal and really kill off the game, because it's not that we are struggling to create chances. Our problem is we are struggling to finish off our chances. In the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers, we had 27 shots and only 7 were on target. That is very shaming. At least 14 out of those are supposed to be on target, and if I only had 14 on target, that calls in for us to score like 4 or 5 goals, because we need to look a highly goal-scoring side as we look to the finale of the FA Cup, because Man City won't give you that chance. Man City won't give you that chance. So we need to really be prolific. And how do you start being prolific in such games of teams like Bournemouth, Chelsea, and Fulham? We need to kill off these games early enough and obviously bring the best that we deserve as a team of Manchester United. My prediction, 3-1 Manchester United. That's my prediction. It might sound weird, but I'm going for a 3-1 win for Manchester United as it stands. And Google has gone ahead to really bring us some thoughts, all facts about this beautiful game of football. Bournemouth have lost 8 of their 11 Premier League games against Manchester United, 2 wins and 1 draw, though they did win 1-0 the last time they faced the Reds at home in November 2019. That means the last time we played at the Vitality Stadium, we lost by 1 goal to 0. Manchester United have only failed to score in one of their last 14 meetings with Bournemouth in all competitions. 10 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, though it was their last visit to Vitality Stadium in 2019. That means the last time we visited them in 2019, we failed to score. Then, Bournemouth have won their final game in 3 out of their 5 previous Premier League seasons. 1 draw and 1 loss, though they did lose 2-0 against Southampton in their last such campaign of 2019-2020, meaning that the last time they were in the Premier League, they lost their last home game to a team known as Southampton. Manchester United lost their final away league game of 2021-22 campaign, going down 1-0 at Crystal Palace. They've not lost their last away game in the consecutive league campaigns since a run of 4 between 1988 to 1989 and 1991 to 1992. So last season, Crystal Palace beat us by 1-0 in our last away game, and then this time round, it's obviously what we call the Man United last game away from home, because the remaining 2 games are going to be played at Old Trafford. Lastly, Bournemouth have lost their last 2 Premier League games, last losing more consecutive in December to 4th January. None of the Cherries' last 14 league games have been drawn. They've gone ahead to lose 7 and they've gone ahead to win 7, meaning that they are a team that has not seen themselves lose such games, and they have not seen themselves draw. They've only won 7 and drawn 7. So guys, your thoughts onto that are welcome in the comment section below. That has been the match preview between Bournemouth and Manchester United, a game that's going to be played on Saturday. Hurry into the comment section and tell me your match reaction, your predictions, and what are your thoughts about my thoughts about this game. My prediction is 3-1. I don't know what your prediction is. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. That has been the match preview. Bournemouth versus Man United as Marcus Rashford returns into the starting 11 of Manchester United. I'm out. Good night, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Bye-bye.